In 1954, the United States Supreme Court, in the landmark case Brown versus the Board of Education, held that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. Where desegregation was accepted and implemented, the strategy was successful. But in many parts of the country, it would take much more than a court order to change public opinion rooted in centuries of anti-black racism. Politicians in county and state governments across the South found ways to go around the laws. Sometimes they slashed state funding for public schools that integrated. Sometimes they supported private academies attended predominantly by white students.
The main thrust behind African American interest in desegregating was a desire for access to quality education. They understood that dollars followed white children into white schools.
Nearly 20 years after the Brown decision, many schools remained segregated, even in the North. And nowhere was this more evident than in Boston, Massachusetts. In response, the NAACP presented a class action suit demanding that schools and educational officials should act. In 1974, a federal judge in Massachusetts ruled that students in Boston would be bused from one neighborhood to another neighborhood to balance school systems racially.
Working class whites, one of the things that they have been able to benefit from is being able to send their children to all white schools and the resources and the privilege that comes along with that. And now they're being asked to give that up.
In South Boston, as many as 18,000 students were forced to attend new schools. Angry protesters carried signs, hurled bricks at buses, and blocked school entrances. Opposition to integration continued well after the initial violence subsided. Many middle-class white families moved to the suburbs, abandoning the city's public school system. 60 years after Brown v. Board of Education, American classrooms remain shockingly segregated. A direct result of families continuing to move to the suburbs, taking public funding based on property taxes along with them. The goals of Brown v. Board remain unfulfilled, even though its spirit lives on.